Clay Watson, thanks for being on Heart of the City.
Oh, thank you. It's my pleasure.
Well, so excited to dive in about your world and who you are. I would love for you to give us a little peek into what is your role with Mountain View Ford? What does kind of your life look like now with the business? I know it's a family business, so give us a bit of a rundown.
So, actually, I'm a partner in the Mountain View Auto Group. We have 10 rooftops in total. I believe that represents, if my numbers are right, 8 franchises, maybe 9.
Wow.
I lost count, and that's bad of me. I'm sorry. So my role is I'm president and dealer principal of our Ford store, Mountain View Ford Lincoln. Been there for 30 years.
Wow.
You know, I am partners with 2 of my cousins who are phenomenal people and operators, and we represent the 3rd generation of ownership. So our grandfather started it,
Man.
and we've just continued to grow and live and work in the Chattanooga area, North Georgia as well.
That is awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
so your grandfather's starting it. I mean, what even did that look like back in his day?
So, that's a great, he was a World War II vet, came from absolutely
Wow.
nothing, started selling cars in the early 60s and just worked his way up through the business and was able to purchase what was then in 1981 Forest Cape Ford, which is in the current location of our Ford store,
No
was in
way.
the current location, and bought it in 81. And then my father and uncles joined soon after, and that's where it all started. And then from there, we just continued to grow when opportunity presented itself, and
Man.
been very blessed and lucky. I mean, this town and this area has been so good to us. We've had ample opportunities to move our businesses to maybe a more financially lucrative, area of opportunity, but we've decided to stay in Chattanooga.
Wow.
Our roots are here. And like I said, the people have been great to us, and, we try to be good to them as well.
That's so sweet. So cars are just in your blood.
They are, yes.
You just grew up around them.
Yeah, I mean, we grew up around them, and I won't say there are a lot of people out there that know way more about cars and are way more into them than I am personally. But yes, our family obviously has made a living in the automobile industry, and we love it. And
So did you always know you wanted to do that? Like watching your dad and...
yes.
Okay.
Yes. I saw the hard work that my father put in, the opportunities that it provided for us, as a young man, and I wanted to give that to my family.
That's awesome.
So I decided to, really, in high school, I knew kind of what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So,
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned before we started rolling that you try not to work a lot anymore. So are you kind of just like, what season of life would you say you're in with your career right now?
That's a great question, Amy. And when my friends watch this, they're going to start laughing. So I won't say that I'm retired because I'm not, but not to necessarily go down this rabbit hole. We can if you want to. I had an interesting and almost tragic event in my life back in 2022 that in the aftermath, I decided that I wasn't going to go back to work in my, former capacity as far as working all the time. And I was basically granted a second chance at life.
Wow.
And I decided that I was going to play a little harder and take advantage of living.
That's awesome.
And I have done just that. And I've been fortunate enough to do that through, like I said before we started this, I've surrounded myself with just great, incredible people that or one, they're just good people. Two, they're better at it than I am. But I've been fortunate enough to rely on them to run the day to day and allow me to do some board work, to travel, and kind of do what
Good
I
for
want to
you.
do.
Yeah. So if you're
Sure.
comfortable sharing, was it a medical scare?
No, so June 8th of 2022, my twin daughters and I were involved in a helicopter crash in Hawaii. And
What?
yeah, so everybody, by the grace of God, survived. We fell from 1,500 feet elevation, landed in an ancient lava field on the most remote part of the big island of Hawaii.
What?
Yeah. So basically, the entire tail boom of the helicopter fell off in mid-flight. Just came off. We weren't doing any tricks. We were just cruising around on a sunset.
The three of you and the pilot.
And there were two other passengers as well. And then, one of my daughters was in the co-pilot seat, and we had to, when we crashed, we had to basically pick up the fuselage to get her out from under it. She was severely injured. So we spent, and the pilot was as well, so we had to extricate both of them out, to a safe distance. And we spent a month in Hawaii in the hospital, or she did, after that. So,
Gosh.
basically, my faith is huge in my life, and the good Lord gave me a chance to do something, I guess, special. I don't know what that is now, but it gave me a new outlook on life.
Wow.
At the time I was a single dad, and it was a graduation trip for my girls, and it just went south pretty quick.
Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry.
No,
I didn't know any of that.
And it's not
insane.
something that defines me.
Yeah.
But it is part of my fabric and part of me. I do not talk about it a lot. I will if somebody asks me about it. But it's a chance for me to, sometimes to tell that story and
Absolutely.
and the good outcome.
Wow. Yeah. And praise God, everyone was okay. And it sounds like your girls are doing amazing.
They are super resilient. They did great. It was, we didn't know if my daughter Kennedy, at the time, we didn't know if she was going to survive it, honestly.
The one up front.
The one in the co-pilot seat.
Oh my gosh.
And, somehow we all survived it. We all had injuries and we all spent time in the hospital, but so it was an eye-opening event for me.
And talk about career just perspective. You're just like, okay, you spend so much of your life at work, so many hours of the week at work. And it's just like, anytime you're faced with the hard truth of like, your time is limited. It's like, okay, is there any different balance here I want to have in my life?
100%.
I can only imagine that. It just was like shook you. Oh,
it did.
gosh.
It did. And I would say that as bad as it was at the time, it changed my life for the good. It really changed my attitude towards other people in a great way. It taught me to love better, feel better. And, there's a reason it happened.
Yeah.
And we came out better on the other end, and my girls did as well.
That's amazing. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I would say that's quite tragic. And have you been back to Hawaii since?
I have been back one time just for the legal part of the whole deal, and it's very tough.
Gosh.
I can't say I'll never go back, but
that's really traumatic.
It's tough to think about it, and it's tough to, see helicopters fly by.
Right, or even honestly probably fly there.
And I'm not I'm a terrible flyer anyways.
Yeah.
But I haven't let that slow me down. I've been fortunate enough to travel to many exotic places far, far away. But it's nerve-wracking getting there and getting home for me, for sure.
It's a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so what did work life look like for you before the accident? Like, were you just really consumed with work?
Yeah, I'm still in that generation where it was in our business, in the automotive business, especially the retail, you just work 6 days a week from daylight
So
to
true.
dark, and you miss out on a lot of family time. And I remember growing up and not seeing my dad a whole lot until later because he was working so hard,
Yeah.
and I was part of that generation as well. It's changed a lot in the last 10 years with a younger generation coming in where, time is more valuable than money. And we've had to adapt our work ethic and our schedules to be able to hire the young crowd,
Yeah.
that might be interested in our industry. And, and social media has helped with that.
Yeah.
Digital advertising and a digital presence helps with that. I mean, you don't have to stay open for those people that want to come down after work and look at cars.
Right.
Which is what we had to
Right.
do back when I started. They can go home, sit in their chair, pull out their phone, look at everything we have to
Look at the
offer and
videos.
everything coming
Yeah.
in, the videos, and pretty much almost buy the vehicle without leaving their den or their
insane.
couch.
Yeah.
So it's a little different environment. It's a lot different environment. So that allows us to do some different things.
What have you seen in your time, like in your career in automotive here, in Chattanooga or really anywhere, the evolution of just even being able to like buy a car online now and just have it shipped to you, like how has that evolution impacted your local dealership and the way people engage?
Well, I think it's, impacted us very positively. We embraced it at an early stage, and we continue to evolve in that world where sometimes we might not even lay eyes on the customer physically.
Wow.
We might through a Zoom or FaceTime, but there are so many tools to use now to where you could be sitting in Seattle, Washington, and buy a car in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
I mean, that's true. You're also on the receiving end of that. People from elsewhere are buying from you, and you're
that happens all the time. I mean, we
Okay,
sell
yeah.
cars in Washington State and
That's so
Montana and
true.
Wyoming.
Wow.
We do it all the time, and it's changed a lot.
Yeah.
We have a lot less drive-up traffic versus our total traffic hasn't necessarily changed. In fact, it's probably increased.
Okay.
But
I'm sure.
It's just in a
'cause
different,
Yeah.
a different
it can be from
avenue.
anywhere.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Okay, especially as a father to daughters, and just from my perspective as a woman, in the automotive industry. I mean, whether you're going to get your car checked or you're going to buy a car, there is this stigma and stereotype around women can just be taken advantage of in this arena because we just don't know what we're talking about. We don't know anything. Talk me through, like, how have you taught your daughters to speak about, like, if they were to walk in by themselves and be wanting to look at cars, what are some of those tips and like ways you can engage with the dealership that makes you feel confident in that process?
Well, I think the number one thing is to be well informed. I mean, do your homework before you come in. And, we find that women are the decision makers in the household. Whether they're single and it's just them,
Right.
or they have a family,
Yeah.
whether they're working at home or they're working in an office somewhere, they tend to be the decision makers.
Yeah.
And recognizing that is half the battle.
Yeah.
Part of
There's
our
a lot of
training
power.
is a lot of power. And part of our training is, do not assume anything other than that.
Yeah.
But I've told my daughters, whether they're buying a bicycle or a car or a home, be well informed. I mean, they're smart girls, and they've lived away from home now for 4 years in a totally different city. So they've gained some kind of street knowledge. Show
True.
that, use that.
Yeah.
I think there might have been a day where a woman might have played the innocent housewife, didn't know anything. That's over. That doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
And I tell them just to make sure they know they don't have to know everything
Right.
about it, but know the basics, ask
Right.
good questions.
Yeah.
Continue to be confident. And at the same time show respect to
Yeah.
that
Oh,
person
totally.
and
Yeah.
move through the process.
So how have like on the reverse side of that, because of course, yeah, like those are kind of some of the stereotypes around women engaging with, dealing with cars. There's also a bit of a stereotype around just car salesmen and what that looks like and feels like and presents like. How has that impacted your life and career?
Well, I mean, it's been tough, especially early on in my career when folks, you're just a glorified used car salesman, whatever that means, and
Yeah.
you're here to, steal money, take our good hard-earned money from us, and
It's really crazy.
And look, unfortunately, there are still bad actors in our industry, like
Yeah.
any industry.
Yeah, of course.
We have that age-old stigma of being that shyster.
Yeah.
I think, especially with us and a lot of the remaining families that are in the business here locally and nationwide, I mean, at the end of the day, we're families. We're human, and we live, we eat, we sleep, we interact in our own community. We give back to our community. So we're in the stores. I mean, when I'm in town, I'm usually in the store. You can come in there and see me.
Yeah.
I'm not untouchable. There are other people that can help you out better than I can.
Right.
But we try to dispel any of those rumors, or any of those misnomers. And we work hard by being knowledgeable.
Yeah.
We do the right thing. Sometimes it may seem like it's not. But if we've made a mistake, we own up to it, regardless of the cost.
That's huge.
It's huge. And I'd like to think that, we're celebrating 45 years in business, and we've grown from one dealership to several.
That's awesome.
And we have 600 employees. So I think we're doing something right.
Yeah, I would say.
And especially in today's day and age, you could get canceled in a blink of an eye. And especially if you're doing something wrong. And look, we're not perfect, but I think we are skewed towards the right side of it versus the wrong side of it.
Totally. Yeah, totally. One thing that I was thinking of just in my experience of just engaging in buying cars, whether it was when I was younger and watching my mom do it, or I grew up with a single mom. So that also was always something that it was like, they're trying to run her over or this or that. I feel like cars used to be more like negotiable. And it's kind of gotten away from that.
It has.
So what was that shift? I just remember it was hours of my mom would be going back and forth, and it's just what does this car cost? Literally, what's the cost? How is this even?
Well, you just said it in your statement. What does it cost? Well, now, unlike any other industry out there, you as an individual consumer can go look up what our cost is on that vehicle.
So true.
Seeing our true cost is easier today than it ever has been. So what it does is it allows you as the individual to want to be educated.
Yeah.
You come into the store, you engage our sales staff already knowing pretty much what you want. You know your budget. You know what you can afford per month, or you know what you can afford to write a check for. So it takes that not knowing out of it. So you're not going to come into our store, look at a $80,000 Ford Expedition thinking you can buy it for $50,000. It just doesn't happen that way.
Yeah.
I mean, you know that
you can check comps, you can look at
you know how much markups in that vehicle. And most people, again, going back to the respect thing, if you're knowledgeable, even if you're not knowledgeable, but you're able to realize a fair deal, we realize a fair deal.
Totally.
We know that Amy Walters is going to come in and buy a vehicle from us. Guess what? I'm going to see you in the gym.
Yeah.
I'm going to see you at a function.
Yeah.
You're going to be back in our service drive needing maintenance.
Yeah, so true.
So we need to take care of you. We need to have a good relationship. So you don't do that by just totally,
Gouging someone.
gouging somebody.
Yeah.
Body.
Yeah.
Do we make money? Yes.
Of course. You're a business.
We're in a business.
Yeah.
I mean, we pay taxes. We give back to the community financially. We have families to feed. Like I said, we have over 600 employees.
Wow.
So we do make money. We are not a nonprofit. But we try to do it fairly.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
reasonably.
Totally. No, that's spot on, I think. Okay, you've mentioned a lot about the team you've created and how there's people doing it better than even you can now. Which, props to your humility. That's just like every best leader I talk to, I feel like feels that way. What does that process of, 600 employees, like how do you even begin to set up like training systems for that? And it's a family-owned business. It's not like you're getting some big corporate handoff PDF that you can just share with your people. So like, what has that looked like? How has that evolved as you've grown the company and just like the training, the hiring, the scaling? Talk me through some of that.
Great question. Over the years, the decades, we've developed our own processes for sales and service, any kind of consumer handling. And that's not been necessarily easy. It's trial and error. But we've kind of identified the right ones and the proper way to do business. And we've just cultivated our staff, into believing in our mission, which is, to take care of folks, give folks a fair deal, being there when they need us. And, we've just, I guess just tried to build a culture of that. We don't always get the hire right, and we recognize that early. Our business may not be a good fit for everyone, but when we recognize that it is, we'll take that individual and, whether it's through a mentorship or we do have some in-house training from people that have been doing it for a long time. Manufacturers offer really good training as well. Cool. So there is some sort of corporate part of it. But we just really try to recognize good folks, and our business is our world's still pretty small where, if there's a bad actor, we know ahead of time. And we really try to, not engage with that and stay away from that. Because look, at the end of the day, it's my name, my family's name that's on the side of the building. It's our reputation.
Totally.
I've always said that I want to be able to go into the grocery store and at 5 o'clock in the afternoon and not have to hide from people.
Gosh, that'd be horrible.
And I'm able to do that.
Totally.
Yeah.
And that's so cool. Just to have a team that's such a strong representation of how you would conduct business. And
our folks kind of own it. They take some ownership in it as well.
That's so cool.
And like I said, I've said this a lot during this time, and we're not perfect, but we do a pretty good job of that. And it hadn't always been that way. It's been hard. It's tough sometimes, but we really try hard to
that's so cool.
keep it in between the lines.
Do you guys have any sort of intentional culture or camaraderie? What do you do to keep your people just really excited to be a part of this family you've created?
Well, that's probably one area that we don't do a great job of, but we pay fairly.
That's probably a real big one.
It's huge.
Yeah.
We do what we're going to say, what we say we're going to do. They see, like our consumers, they see the ownership in the store.
Present. That's huge.
In my example, even though I'm not necessarily in the day-to-day operations, now the folks that have been there for a while, they know where I came from. They know that I was sweeping floors when I was 12 years old.
Wow.
They know that I worked in the parts department delivering parts or cleaning out dirty bins or something. They know that I was a service advisor, getting screamed at from somebody that was unhappy that their car was broken. They know that I put in my time.
Yeah.
They saw me, closing the door and the gate at 10:30 at night when my family was at home in bed.
Yeah.
I didn't. They know that I didn't walk in there with it handed to me on a silver platter. And I think that kind of example helps people to buy into it.
Totally.
Helps
Keeps people motivated right there.
It does.
Yeah.
And along with that, we're big believers on growing our own, promoting from within. So we really try to take our key performers and, train them up and then give them an opportunity to potentially lead a team.
That's awesome.
To manage a team.
Grow how they want.
To grow. And it provides opportunities that they never thought were possible.
Yeah.
And it also shows them what hard work and determination can potentially lead to.
Totally.
So,
Clay, it sounds like you've got a lot in place for culture and camaraderie, so don't sell yourself short. Okay, does most everyone that works with you, do you guys all drive Fords or Lincolns? Like, how does this work?
no, I mean,
Okay.
great question. Another great question. So we have other franchises too.
Okay.
But we, what people don't realize is we sell a lot of pre-owned vehicles,
Okay.
all makes and models.
Yeah, okay. So you guys are kind of normal in that way. You're all kind of just, it's all preference.
I mean, I drive a Ford truck,
Okay.
and
Okay.
my wife drives a used Lexus.
Okay.
And
that's allowed? Okay.
It's allowed. For instance, as nice as like the Lincoln Navigator is,
Yeah.
like we're at the part of our life where we don't need that
Right.
big grocery getter,
Right,
people
right.
hauler, and somebody traded in a really nice Lexus and I'm put her in that one.
Here
It's
we
fine,
are, yeah.
And I mean, we switch cars, every so often. It's definitely
Yeah.
a first world problem. I'm not trying to brag about it or
Oh,
anything,
yeah.
but we drive anything. I try to remain loyal to the
Yeah.
brand, do a pretty good job of it, but I
Yeah.
have some other fun cars in the
That's
stable
awesome.
that
You're proud of.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk through this whole like leasing versus buying thing. I feel like there is so much like, oh, if you don't own a car, like there's so many people have these big opinions, but like there are two viable options on the table.
Yes.
Talk me through, when do you encourage to sell someone a car versus lease someone a car?
So you're right. There's a lot of misinformation behind that, and some vehicles lease better than others.
Why?
Well, just because of like their determined lease-in value after the term of the lease.
Okay.
Usually, like a luxury car, a more expensive car, you get a little more bang for your buck when you lease that versus purchase that, versus say a cheaper, less equipped vehicle. What people don't understand, and we hear it all the time, is like, well, you never own your car. It's like, you know what, you're right, but when you do this 5-year loan, you don't own it until you made that 60th payment.
Correct.
So there's the bank owns it. It's
Yeah.
the same thing
Yeah.
with leasing. Granted, at the end of it, it's not yours, but you've had the use of it, and you have the opportunity to
Upgrade.
go get something different. If you don't like the Lincoln Navigator you leased, you can go lease a Chevrolet Tahoe.
Yeah.
You can go lease a Ferrari for,
Yeah.
whatever. It gives you that flexibility of a short-term commitment. Now, the mileage may not work out for you if you live in Cleveland and you're driving to North Chattanooga every day, may not be
True.
what you need. If you live in North Chattanooga and you're driving to Hamilton Place every day, may be the right
work.
fit.
Yeah.
It just depends. Everybody's different.
Right.
We have folks that do nothing but lease.
Interesting.
We have folks that won't even consider a lease for whatever reason. So they can be. It really just depends on the consumer
Yeah.
and their lifestyle.
Yeah. And do you train your people to like, kind of recommend like, hey, have you considered leasing
Yes.
this? Yeah. Okay. So
For
it's
sure.
not just like their mind's made up, you're going to
No.
take their lead. You're going
No.
to try to, okay.
We try to promote it because it's good for us too. It allows us to bring back a customer every 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. True.
Because whether they buy from us again or not, they have to come back to turn it in.
So true.
So we may have another opportunity to say, hey, I know you just leased this Explorer, here's the new model.
Yeah.
Would you consider it? It actually at least is better than the one you're turning in.
Yeah.
We get them back in the shop for service.
Right.
It's just more exposure for us. But again, and I will say this, when interest rates were more competitive, I mean, they're still very competitive in historically, it was harder to lease.
I'm sure.
People wanted to, I mean, when you
Snag
got
it.
interest-free money, it's kind of hard to beat that.
Right.
But it just depends.
Okay, as a dad in the automotive
Okay.
industry, that's also chatter I hear is like, I will never get my child a fancy car as their first car or this or that, but like, what was your mentality on that? And what's your approach when it comes to a teenager's first car?
So I was the same way. Now, I will disclaim that my girls, their first car, they were nice cars. They weren't luxury vehicles. They weren't the nicest out there. And they kept what they received. Like, they weren't changing cars every 3 months or every year or getting the next best thing.
Okay. Even though they could through your work,
Yes.
if that wasn't on the table.
Correct.
Okay.
I have peers in the business that their sons or daughters are driving $100,000 vehicles when they're 16 years old, and they scratch it and they get another one, or they take it to college and whatever.
Yeah.
And that's fine if that's what you want to do. That's
Yeah.
your right to do so. My thought was, you're going to get a vehicle, you're going to take care of it, and you're going to show me you can take care of it and maintain it, and it's going to be yours for quite a while.
That's awesome.
And that's how I've operated, and
That's awesome.
that's how we're going to continue.
How you're going to roll.
Yeah.
I love it. Do your girls know how to like change a tire and like do some of the basics of car maintenance?
They do, and they learn that in high school, actually.
Oh, wow.
At GPS.
Shout out
So,
GPS.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
They do, and they know the basics. And
That's
look,
great.
my deal with my girls is I wanted to train them up in life to where I could drop them off in the middle of the desert, the national forest, New York City, London, England, and they're going to survive.
I love
They're
it.
going to survive, and I think I've been successful at that so far. And it hadn't been all me. It literally has taken a village.
Yeah.
Not to be cliche, but
They're well-rounded
they're well-rounded.
individuals.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's kind of wrap it up with like some fun, just, geek out on some car buying things. Okay, so for car people, like what are your personal top 3 favorite, like top 3 features in a vehicle that you're just like, gotta have these. These are my non-negotiables.
Oh, wow. Funny. Heated steering wheel, heated seats, horsepower.
Ooh, good one.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Are there any like workarounds when it comes to, there's all the different makes and models and levels of a vehicle, and it's like, are there ways to like tweak and get some upgrades without having to jump to like the whole next? How do you navigate that?
Not as much as there used to be.
Okay.
As the manufacturers are growing as well, they're becoming more efficient. They're decontenting vehicles, making it easier for dealers to order, making it easier for the consumer to make a decision.
More just clean cut.
More clean
Yeah.
cut, more cookie cutter. Gone are the days where you could go order a work truck
But soup it out. Like,
and have like a power seat in
yeah.
it. They really don't make roll down windows much anymore. They do in some. Like they've taken that content out. And like if it's a work truck, it's a work truck, and that's what it's made for.
Yeah.
Now, can you go put nicer wheels on it? Sure. Can you put a bed cover on it? Sure. There's ways you can dress it up aftermarket wise, but on general basis, it's, you know, the luxury cars are luxury cars. You know, the basics are the basics, and there's middle ground as well.
Yeah.
It's a little harder to do that.
Yeah, I see that.
It's harder to take a lesser content vehicle and make it nicer. It's just
Nicer.
you have to just go ahead and buy the
Yeah. Nicer
vehicle.
thing. That probably does make it easier
Yeah.
just for everyone
It
involved.
does. It does.
What is your like go-to car color?
I am a big like a gray, like silver gray,
Okay.
you
I
know,
like it.
earthy type.
Yeah.
That's me. Some people love black.
What do you feel like you sell the most
Oh,
color-wise?
white.
White. Okay.
Yeah. White's going to look the cleanest, the longest, you know, and then I'd say black's probably second.
Yeah. Just for the look.
Black's
People love the aesthetic.
the cleanest car coming out of the detail shop, and it's becomes the dirtiest the quickest.
It's very true.
Yeah.
As a black car driver, I
Yeah.
deeply understand that. Coming from a white car, I'm like, man, all the things were true.
See, the gray is kind of in between.
That's true.
you
Okay,
know?
maybe I'll be on board with that.
Yeah.
Let's see. What would you say is like the most practical car on the market right now? Like if someone was purely asking about practicality, what are you gonna give them or try to get them in?
That's a great question. There's so many choices. Well, fewer manufacturers are making sedans. You know, your imports are still doing so. So, like as far as a sedan goes, I would say like a Nissan Altima, a Honda Accord, which we sell both of. SUV wise, I would say Ford Explorer, just hands down. It's been here forever. I think since 1990, if I'm math correct. And then like the Ford F-150.
Yeah.
I mean, Ford F-150 is the number one selling vehicle on the planet
Wow.
for almost 50 years, I think. It's crazy.
Wow. That is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. What is like the nicest car you guys currently have in inventory here in Chattanooga?
It'd probably be the Lincoln Navigator. You know, we have some that are in that $120,000 range. It's probably the nicest, most consistently nicer vehicle that we stock. However, we do keep a few trucks, like our Super Duty trucks, like that would pull a trailer or a travel trailer that can get into that $120,000,
yeah.
$130,000. And then we also keep, there's now this new segment in the industry of like special vehicles or high performance vehicles. So Ford makes a Ford Raptor, which is a Baja capable truck from the factory.
Wow.
And they actually make a entry level Raptor, and they make a very exclusive one called the Raptor R. We might get 3 or 4 a year.
Crazy.
And they're well over $100,000.
And do you
for a
have your
truck.
buyer you're calling when that car
Usually.
comes in? Yeah.
Yeah, usually.
Yeah.
And with some vehicles, the manufacturer actually gives the allocation to you as the consumer. You apply straight to the manufacturer for it, and they determine if they're going to give you one or not. Then you choose what dealer you want to use.
Oh,
So, and that's kind of a growing trend now.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, just to circle back to like your work-life balance
Okay.
now and your current kind of lifestyle. What's your ideal week look like right now?
Oh man, you know, office work, you know,
Still leading with work.
4 days a week. But I mean, like my office work is very minimal, you know, like a 10 to 2 schedule. Try to, you know, play a little golf.
Nice.
I'm a budding golfer for my 3rd time in my life, but I'm really trying hard.
It's hard, man.
Get a couple workouts in during the week, and
Nice.
you know, mountain bike rides, and then travel when I can.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And you guys are empty nesters. So
We're empty nesters, so
gosh.
it's great. My wife still works a full-time job, so
Nice.
I'm there to support her.
That's awesome. That's so great.
Yeah.
Okay, Clay. Well, we always end every episode with a question. I want you to fill in the blank. The heart of Mountain View Ford Auto Group is?
Our employees, our family.
Love it. So great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all about you and your world. I've loved it and have admired you for years and
wow.
just
Thank
appreciate
you.
you being here.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
Yeah.